Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for Altenew and I am very excited to be part of the November blog hub as they are releasing new spray inks and also new stencils, and how fun they are. They're beautiful. So what I'm going to create in the next two videos, another video coming up, is some projects, actually two layouts that I created using the stencils and the inks in different ways. So for this one, I am going to focus a lot on the Cosmic Berry, and you're going to show you the colors. I got Misty Mountain, Lagoon, Sunkissed, and they match the ink pad really well. And what I'm going to use is Yupo paper because I want the translucency to bring the translucency of the paper onto this layer. So you're going to see that I'm going to mix the Cosmic Berry, which is what I'm going to use a lot in this layer. I'm going to mix it really well because I want to get some of the shimmer. And I'm going to add it to a little palette plate. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some matte acrylic gel and think a bit of a decoupage medium. And this one is from Vicky Boutin. And I liked it because it dries, even though it goes white, it dries clear. Just like glue, it dries clear. So it's going to give me quite a bit of texture. It's going to give me the true color of the ink when it dries. And it's going to create, think of it as a glaze that I'm going to be able to add the impression. In this case, I'm going to use the flowing butterfly stencil because I want to create a set of butterflies, kind of an ombre effect as they flying up the page. So as you're going to see, I'm using my palette knife. And what I'm going to do is, like right now, I'm going to go ahead and create the impression of the butterfly. Now, the key here is that when you add your gel, you go just one way. So you're going to see that I put it at the top and then just slide my knife down. Because if I were to go back up, then I'm going to create some bleeding underneath the stencil. And you're going to lose the definition of your image. So just keep that in mind. So I just add the impression just one way. It's going to look like I go back and forth, but it's not. I just add I'm going to say quite a bit of the glaze on top and then just go, I'm sweeping down. Now, once I have, and I'm creating 2 butterflies per color. Once I have done, I clean my stencil and then I actually have the Altenew white ink in this case. So I'm going to add it to the glaze that I've created just to create, like I said, I'm thinking an ombre effect. And I am going to lighten up the color. Now, the only thing is you're going to lose a little bit of the transparency of the impression in this case because the white ink is a little bit more opaque, but it works perfect. So you're gonna see as I'm adding that, I'm gonna follow the same procedure. I'm gonna go add a bit of the glaze, in this case, or the gel at the top of the stencil and then just drag my knife down. And again, I'm creating 2 butterflies with each of the colors. And then I'm gonna work with the same process a few more times, adding a bit of the white ink and mixing it and then going ahead. I'm making sure that in between changing colors, I clean my stencil. One, because it's very sticky, one, the matte gel, and because I want to make sure that doesn't stain the stencil. So make sure that you clean it in between. And you're gonna see how slowly the ink is lightening, getting lighter in this case. And I'm loving how this looks. It went from a maroon to like a really nice clear purple, I'm gonna say. Love how this turned out. And I said to dry. The matte gel takes a little bit longer to dry because it's an impression, so it's going quite thick. Think of it of a lot of glue going to put aside to dry in this case. But I love how this turned out. Now, once it was completely dry, I went ahead and fussy cut around each of the butterfly impressions because I want to have, like I said, my idea is to have them flying on my page. And you can see the difference on the look of the butterfly. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm going to use the classic die set, and these are the big die sets from Altenew, the letter, to create part of my title. And I'm going to create the word love, and I'm using actually thick cardstock because I want it to stand out, and I'm going to actually cut it twice. This is going to be part of my title. As you're going to see right now, all I'm doing is kind of building the idea that I have for this layout. And I pulled out this picture of my kids. And one of the reasons that I pulled it is because my daughter has a sweater that matches the colors of the butterflies, actually the deeper color. So I thought it was going to pick up the color of the picture and also of the butterfly. It's going to complement and bring everything nicely. Now that I know I have an idea what everything's going to say, I'm going to bring another one of the stencils. And this one is called Wavy Grid. Beautiful stencil, great for a background. If you do mixed media, then this is a great stencils to have in your stash. And all I'm going to do in this case, I am using Lagoon, the spray ink, and I'm going to use just a piece of acrylic on the side just to create my mixed media. And all I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of water because I don't want it that concentrated. I want some, even though it's going to go light, I'm going to use it to stamp the stencil onto the layer. So I'm adding water just to lighten up the color, make it more fluid. And you're going to see in a little bit of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to make sure that I have, if you're going to follow this, that I have a piece of a baby wipe on the side. Because I want to create the lines in between the stencil, but I don't want the limit, that little square that forms the frame of the grid. I just want the center of it. So once I add the ink to the background, I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of, in this case, you can use a napkin, but I'm using paper towel just to make sure that I press onto the, in this case, the stencil to create the stamped image. And you're going to see that I clean the edges because I don't want to have the square edge. I just want the inside of the stencil. And I have an idea more or less. Like I said, you saw me build the layout. So I know that I have sort of an L that I got to create. Now, here's where I make a mistake. And is I was thinking of lines, like think of it like squares. And for some reason, for 2 seconds, I want to create a diagonal design. So that little part, it's bugging me because it was not part of the plan. I wanted something kind of a grid. So that having that diagonal little section, it's bugging me, but I did not want to start over. So my idea had to change a little bit. It doesn't change a lot. The video, it's going to show you exactly what happened. It doesn't change, the design doesn't change. Because luckily, the picture is going to cover that part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it 180. But as you can see, super simple. The only thing, like I said, is I'm being careful not to have the limit, the edge of the stencil. And I'm just adding the ink to the middle part, making sure that I clear the edges because I don't want to have it. And I'm using a paper towel to press down because you don't want to stain your hands. And it's going to help you. Literally, what I'm doing is stamping the stencil onto the cardstock. And I'm using actually Vicky Butin foundation paper just because it's thicker and it's gonna withstand the mixed media much better. And actually this is not that much water, it's a very light application, so even if you use regular cardstock, you'll be okay with it. Now, like I said, while that dry, because I added a little bit of water, so I want to make sure that it dries, I'm gonna take my time to glue the 2 pieces of the die cuts that I created with the classic alpha die set. And then I went ahead and started looking for some papers in the reflection scrapbook kit from Altenew that will match what I have in mind. And this watercolor circle paper matches the blue that my son's wearing and also has a lot of the purple maroon colors that I use in Cosmic Berry, the spray, and also in my daughter's sweater. So I'm going to just create 2 layers behind the picture. And you're going to see I rotated the paper so that I can hide the diagonal mistake that I created. And all I'm going to do right now is going to set up. You're going to see that I'm going to start setting up where everything is going to go. I added some foam adhesive behind the picture because I want a little bit of a lift. And you're going to see that I am going to I'm going to play with the butterflies positioning, going from darkest at the bottom to the lightest at the top. Now, as I'm adding this, I realized that I need to add a little bit of splatters. When I stamped, there was some splatters that was created just because there's some ink and water flowing. So I'm just going to add a few more just to add a little bit of the messiness that I like messy backgrounds, and I think it's going to bring the color. It's not going to be so white and be defined, but it's going to create a little bit of a messiness. And because the stamping on the back of that when I use the stencil is not complete squares, it's just going to create the illusion that is kind of, I'm thinking distressed. I'm going to add a little bit of gold splatters along the way, just because I want to bring a little bit of the shine onto this layer. Now I'm just going to go ahead and build it. Super simple. Now everything is done. Like I said, I'm using some foam adhesive behind the picture and also a little bit of foam adhesive behind the word love, just because I want it to be propped off the page. You're going to see that I pretty much the way I added the stencil, it's the way I'm going to set everything up. So once I have everything in place, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing the butterflies. Now to glue the butterflies, what I'm going to do is add a little bit of glue to the center of the butterfly. Think of it of what the body is, to the thorax. And then I'm going to add some foam adhesive underneath the wings just to create a bit of a lift, give the impression of as they are on flight, so there's some movement. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to show you everything online because it did take some time. But like you see right now, I'm adding a little bit of glue, making sure that I press in the center so it glues onto the cardstock, and adding some foam adhesive to the edges of the butterflies in some cases, or to the closer to the center, because then it's going to create more of a lift on the butterfly. So just play around with the foam adhesive, and that's pretty much it. That's what I did all the way to the top of my butterflies. Like I said, I make sure that I could see the change in the color of the butterflies as they went from the bottom to the top. going from darkest to lightest. Once I have that in place, I'm gonna complete my title, and I'm gonna add, actually, these are Paige Evans foam stickers. I'm gonna add the word "Your Smile." So my title is gonna be "Love Your Smiles." But they are very, very white, and I also wanna bring some of that Lagoon color, which is like a teal color, to the layout. So what I'm gonna do is bring a little bit of the spray, and I think I add a little bit of water just because I want to make sure that it lightens up a little bit. And I'm going to use the combination to just add a bit of color to the bottom of the letters. So I'm just using a regular brush, picking up a little bit of the ink, and just adding color, like I said, to the bottom half of the words, in this case of the letters. And that's just going to bring a little bit of a shadow that's going to pick up the color that's in the background, and it's going to give definition to the letters. Love how that turned out. I'm just adding a few elements, and I'm using some stickers from the Reflections kit, but I'm also going to bring a few from my stash. Now, to bring some sentiments to the page, I am using the Charm stamp set from Altenew, and some, actually I think this is Greystone ink from Altenew too, just to add the sentiments. I didn't want them to be black. I wanted to be lighter than black, because black I think is going to be very harsh with this layout. So I'm just adding a little bit of a darker gray, and I'm just gonna add a few gold accents just to pick up on the splatters that I created. And I add a few lines of journal after, not the picture, but after, once it was finished. And I love how this turned out. Beautiful, beautiful layout, super simple, and the stencil is great, and also are the inks. So make sure you check Altenew. Like I said, I am gonna link everything at the bottom of this video, so you can go and check all the new stencils and all the new inks. And thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you back in a bit when I show you another project created with some of the inks and the new stencils released. So see you in a little bit. Thank you for joining me. Take care.